y'all. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to start off this morning by looking at our focus wall. So you bring your attention to the focus wall. Today we're going to be going over some really important ELA standards. The first is going to be author's word choice. The second is going to be figurative language. Let's look at the objectives. Can someone read that first objective for me, Demarion?
I will never explain how the author's word choice affects the tone of the medium.
Okay, let's think about that. What are some important words within that objective that we need to kind of focus in on to make sure we know what's going on in the lesson? Jakaya?
Tone, which means the author's attitude.
Okay, do we agree with tone being the author's attitude?
Yes.
If so, I want to see you say a thumbs up, thumbs down if you disagree, and if you're unsure, let's take it to the side. Yes, tone is the author's attitude. What's another important word in there, in that first objective? Stephen?
Okay.
Affects. What does it mean to affect? To change. Can somebody give me a different word for affect? Think about affect as in the floods, the recent floods that we had last year. Those floods affected Baton Rouge. They affected Natchitoches. What does that mean? It impacts. Awesome, awesome, awesome word. Impacts. Does that make sense? What's another word in that objective that we need to make sure we understand or pull out?
Author's word choice.
Author's word choice. Somebody explain to me, what does that mean? What is the author's word choice? Corey?
How he used the words in between and how he speaks in the book.
How the author uses those words. So I need you to make sure you make that connection. How the words are written is always going to affect the tone. It's always going to display the tone. Awesome. Let's look at the second objective. Can I get somebody to read? Devin?
I will learn to amend the meaning of different language and definitely knowledgeable and not believe.
What's a key word that we need to focus in on with this, in this objective? Teacher? Figurative language. What do we know about figurative language already? Corey? Kadarius?
It's a language used to, it's a different language used to help explain what the author is trying to say.
Awesome. Remember we talked about the surface, and then that being almost a literal meaning, what it actually means, what a word or phrase actually means is considered to be surface. Well, when you start doing figurative language, you're going underneath that surface. You're looking beneath the surface, and you're using the author's words or word phrases in a different manner. It gives it more clear. It makes it more interesting. Can somebody give me some examples of figurative language? Shireen?
Example is a simile and it was as hot as a volcano.
Good. Similes use like or as. Awesome. What's another example of figurative language? Cameron?
And onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia. Give me an example, Yanessa. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. No. Onomatopoeia. If you don't know an answer, what should you do? That say a little louder. Who are you going to ask for help? Kadarius. Help Yanessa.
It's like boom and pow and stuff like that.
Those are what? Those examples. Boom, pow, kerplunk, ka-ching. They are words that do what?
Silent like,
Make sound. Make sound. So onomatopoeia are words that sound like they're spoken, like they're said. Does that make sense? What's another example of figurative language? Devin Williams?
Hyperbole.
Hyperbole. What's a hyperbole? Stephen? An extreme exaggeration. If I said Ms. Starr gave you a busload of homework, am I really giving you that much homework?
No.
No, I'm not. I'm only giving you
a
a
lot.
lot. Does that make sense? What's one other that we haven't covered, Jakaya? Alliteration. That's one of my favorites. What's alliteration?
A tongue twister.
Yes.
A series of sounds from one letter.
Yes, yes, yes. Series of what type of sounds? Vowels?
No.
No, what is it?
Consonants.
Consonants and consonant letters that are repeating. What are those types of consonant letters?
Like B.
B, D, any letter in the alphabet besides A, E, I, O, U, and Y. So we've covered all except one. All except one that we've learned about. Cherie?
Personification.
Personification. And what is personification?
It's when it's like to help is it has the word person. It's when you make a non-human thing have a person characteristic or human trait.
Yes, when you make something that is non-human have a human characteristic or quality, it's personification. The wind is howling outside. Can the wind actually howl?
No.
No. But it is doing what?
Making noise.
Making what type of noise?
Loud.
A loud, somebody gave an example. Who did that? Yes. It's one of those heavy, forceful types, almost if you've ever heard a wolf howl, almost like that. What about the daisy danced in the sun? What is it doing?
Just like
swaying.
It's waving back and forth. We know a daisy can't get up and do the dab or do another type of dance. It's going to be moving along the wind, okay? So the reason why we're pulling those out specifically in our objectives is because I want you to understand the author is going to use figurative language. He's going to use certain words within any story, and that those examples are going to help you to figure out the tone. Does that make sense? That's our objective today. By the end of today's lesson, I want you to understand how figurative language affects the tone of the excerpt, how word choice affects the tone in the excerpt. So we're going to start this morning with a look at vocabulary. We're going to watch this short little video, and this is supposed to be a refresher, and then we're going to break out into our four corners.
So I was reading this passage the other day, and I was like, what's her attitude towards the topic? She's totally using slang words to convey the tone, right? Authors won't just state the tone, make an inference, you're on your own. Positive, negative, go on, infer by examining the author's choice of words. A positive tone might be whimsical, a negative tone might be critical, a neutral tone could be objective. Here's an example, can you detect it? The evil criminal snuck away with a vicious smile on his face. Find clues to what the author thinks, just look at the words, evil and vicious. If the author used heat to describe him, the tone would change and you might like him. A negative tone is what the author is choosing. We might even say it's disapproving. Let's rewrite the same story now with a new tone. And here's how. The boy stepped away from the fridge with a slight smile on his lips. The author's tone is neutral. The character's a boy, not a criminal. No charged adjectives were selected, so the tone is now more objective. The attitude is in the tone. The words they choose are the pros and cons. Convey their feelings and their views, but once the readers feel that mood, the author's attitude is in the tone. The words they choose are the pros and cons. Convey their feelings and their views, but once the readers feel that mood. Tone is the author's attitude, but how a passage makes you feel, that mood is based on the words that the author used, but it's the atmosphere, not their point of view. And it could be a joyful, a cheery mood, or suspenseful, or full of gloom. Or a scene could have a mood of sadness. Wait, hold up, here's another passage. The brother was amused, he didn't expect his kid brother would pull his best joke yet. He smiled widely, and his laughter filled them with warmth for hours after. Now we would say that the tone is gentle. We might even call it sentimental. But what's the mood? How'd you feel while reading? Calm and loving? Is your heart overheated? The author's tone brings a smile to the reader. Mood follows the tone like follow the leader. And you too can write with tone and mood, so your readers react the way you want it to. Author's attitude is in the tone. The words they choose are the pros and cons. Convey their feelings and their views, but once the readers feel that mood, author's attitude is in the tone. The words they choose are the pros and cons. Convey their feelings and their views, but once the readers feel that mood.
already know, correct?
Yes,
ma'am.
Awesome. So now we're gonna go a little deeper. On your desk is the same passage that you see on my smartboard. I want you and your groups to read over that short passage. I want you to discuss the answers to that question. Choose an answer, and then once the time has elapsed, we're gonna break out into our 4 corners, which means whatever answer you have selected, I want you to stand up and go to that area in the room. A is here, B is there, C is back there, D is in the very back. Make sure you're using positive walking behavior. Make sure you're not doing anything that might harm our classmates, okay? So go ahead and begin reading. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to talk it over and to discuss. Which means I need to hear you reading. You may read out loud.
This house is perfect, but it's not where my baby
I
was
know
born.
it all by heart. I know every stain on the carpet, every floorboard, and every
I know every stain in the carpet, every
corner
floorboard,
of
every
this small space is filled with memories that I walk
Good, 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 good. That's logical thinking, y'all. Good. Where are we? We selecting an answer?
Oh, yes.
You can go ahead and start.
When it's that I know all my heart now means it's like set up
They know every little detail of the house, and like it helps them live, I guess, in the house by.
When you say relive, what do you mean? It's almost like maybe bringing memories up?
Yeah, like bringing memories about when her kids grew up and
What were there pieces of evidence in the text that help you to choose the answer?
stuff. Yes, ma'am. Like creaking floorboard, paint chip on the windowsills, memories, stains on the carpet and
Yes.
stuff.
Good, 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 good. Where are we at? I like that y'all are highlighting.
highlight. I think that we think it's see because they don't want to let go of the house. They had some cars. They had good memories in there. Even though the house is like broken, it's full of memories. We think it's sentimental because
Like the minute they change back in the house, they like let it go because that's where their whole life started.
Awesome. Y'all are reading in between the lines. Is that you're saying a lot that's not present in that text. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Did we come up with an answer? I love that y'all are highlighting those important words. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, you guys have about 13 seconds. Make sure that you have your answers circled and that everybody is on the same accord in your group. And time. That means your highlighters need to be down. So we've read, we've discussed, we've answered. So now what I want you to do, depending on whichever answer you chose, I want you to go to the corner of the room that represents that answer. All right, I want you to discuss. That's a lot of kids discussing, so make sure you're watching your voice. Discuss why y'all chose that answer.
I chose this because I know alcohol.
I chose sentimental and because like that house helps them relive, like what they kids, well, no, it helps them relive in the moment, like, cause it brings so many memories, they know everything by heart and stuff.
Well, I chose CS Cinnamon and Cheddar because it brings back all the cherished memories that their family had, and plus that's where their family whole started, and they act like they can never let it go.
Okay, class, city, class, city, class, class, class.
Yes, city, yes, city, yes, yes, yes.
You can come back to your seats. I'm gonna pull out Jakaya. So Jakaya's gonna come to the front of the room. And based on your group discussion, Jakaya is gonna give her explanation of why she chose the letter C. After you listen to her explanation, you're gonna either agree with your thumbs up, disagree with your thumbs down, or say, I'm unsure how to explain that. Now, if you put your thumb to the side, I want you to be ready to help her explain it a little bit better. Remember when we explain and able to verbalize our answers, when we're able to contribute, good, Yanessa, that shows that we have a deeper, fuller understanding, okay? Go ahead.
I choose C, which is next to intended because, as it states in the passage, it says, each corner of this small space is filled with memories that I relive when I walk through the narrow hallways. And filled with memories tell me that it brings her back all memories of her babies and that it brings joy to her heart. And relieve when I walk through the narrow hallways, meaning that she's comfortable with the home, not that it's perfect.
Okay, do we agree, disagree, or unsure? Awesome, the correct answer is C. You may sit down. Let's give her a standing O. So I want everybody to put their hands up like this. Jakaya, you can give yourself. And this is also for you because it is the correct answer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. When we look at this, there are really important words, deliberate words that the author uses to help us understand that tone. We said specifically, filled with memories. Filled with memories. When you think back to important things in your life, those memories kind of bring up what type of emotion? Sentimental. When you think about maybe if you can think back to a time maybe where you had your friend or someone close to you and maybe they were no longer there. Maybe they moved. When you think back on that person, it kind of makes you get a little sad and, oh, I miss that person in my life. So that sentimentalness is thinking back in a fond type of way. They really didn't care that the house itself wasn't perfect. The house was kind of run down, correct? But because it was so filled with memories, it made them feel very tender and loving and caring about it. Does that make sense? That is awesome that you're able to pick out the word choice. All right, let's go on from there. If you look at my agenda board, we are going to discuss now author, word choice, and bud, not buddy. So I need you to grab your textbooks. And we're going to look at specific examples out of the text. I want you to go to page number 1. Page number 1. Remember, we just have begun reading Bud, not Buddy. Somebody give me a little background information concerning Bud. What type of child is he, Samarian?
He's a foster child that's been sent to 4 homes, and people are getting paid to take care of him.
He's a foster child. Can you imagine what it's like to be orphaned? Does he know his mom?
No.
Yes, he does know his mom. What happened to his mother?
She died.
She died. What about the father?
He went away.
He does not know who he is. So imagine being in that situation. When you're able to make connections to the characters within the story, you're able to better understand what's going on with them because you're able to relate to him. Does that make sense? So we see in the beginning of the book that he and his friend are being sent where?
To a home.
To a home. Where specifically? He's going to live with the Amonses. How does he feel about that?
He don't want to.
Yanessa, raise your hand.
He don't like it because they have an older son and he's always bullying with him and he blames him and he gets in trouble.
That is correct. He is not at all a happy camper. I wouldn't be either, would you? No. Being picked on by an older kid is a rough situation on top of the fact that you're a foster child. Yes, sir.
And also, like every time the other kid, he would, like tell his mother lies about things that, Bud did. She would believe what, the oldest child said, and they would send him down to a dark, shed.
Yes. So it's not the ideal situation. It's a pretty bad situation to find yourself in. But we see that Bud has a lot of spunk about him. He's not really one to let it get him down, which is really, really good. All right, let's look at this organizer. You should have figurative language in Bud, not Buddy. In that first column where it says examples of figurative language from the text, I don't want you to take time writing this quote down, but I want you to put page number 1. Page number 1. Ms. Starr is going to read that out for you, and then we're going to discuss what we think it means literally, and then what that's showing about Bud's tone. Does that make sense? So it says, on page number 1, all of the kids watched the woman as she moved along the line, her high-heeled shoes sounding like little firecrackers going off on the wooden floor. I want you to look real closely at his language. What is Bud describing? Demarion?
Bud is describing how the woman is walking and how his shoes are sounding like firecrackers going off.
He is describing that. Good. Now, I want you to look into this passage again and tell me what type of figurative language is being used. Cameron?
Because it's comparing her shoes with like her ass.
Awesome. Do we agree that it is a simile?
Yeah.
Say it again. What's being compared?
Her shoes sound like firecrackers and they usually were like, and like is a similar word.
Yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome explanation. So, what type of noise is really being made? Are her shoes really firecrackers?
No.
No, but what do firecrackers do?
They
pop.
They pop. They make a loud type of noise. So if you think back to your mother or your sister, when they get dressed up for church or they go to a dance, they have on high-heeled shoes, correct? What type of noise would you say that is?
It's a clickety-clack.
A clickety-clack, which is also onomatopoeia. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. So he's hearing this lady loudly coming down. What do you think he's feeling?
He said, what?
Nervous.
Well, I was
Nervous. Why would you say nervous?
Because like with Hughes, you feel like something's gonna go down.
Something's coming. Yes, yes, yes. What could possibly be coming? Sheree?
Mrs. Davis.
Not Mrs. Amos. We're talking about at the beginning of the story,
Oh, his
the lady that owns the foster care, the daycare, or not daycare, the foster home. She's coming to give him news. Does that make sense? So do you think that for Bud it has a positive connotation or a negative connotation? Him hearing this lady clickety-clacking down this way.
Negative.
Negative. Why would you say negative?
I say negative because, he knows that something bad is coming because, like, the lady's coming down the line and he's used to people, like, every time she comes, someone gets in trouble or gets moved to a foster home.
That is awesome. That is exactly right. Remember, Bud has been in this foster care system for how long?
4 years.
For at least 4 years.